I came home last night to find a cup of coffee on my desk. Still warm. I hadn't made it. I've lived in this house for 3 years. Same routine every day. Coffee at 7. Desk by 7:15. Keys on the hook by the door. I notice when things move. The first time something was off, I didn't even think it was strange. My reading glasses, I keep them on the nightstand. Every night without fail. But that morning, they were on the kitchen table, right where I sit for breakfast. I assumed I'd moved them, didn't think about it again. Then it happened again. My phone charger, I keep it by the bed. But I woke up, and it was already on my desk, plugged in, ready. Like someone knew. I had an early call. I did have an early call, but I hadn't told anyone. And that's when I started paying attention. For the next 2 weeks, I kept a log. Glasses, keys, charger, wallet. Every morning, something had moved. Not randomly, precisely. They weren't where I left them, but they were always exactly where I was about to need them. So I tested it. One night, I hid my keys, back of a drawer I never use, wrapped them in cloth, closed it, went to bed. The next morning, they were on the hook by the door. Not on the counter, not on the table. Exactly where I'd been meaning to put them. It wasn't tracking my routine. It was correcting it. I stopped touching anything after that. I'd wake up and just watch. The hallway lights, always already on. Doors slightly open before I reached them. Like the house was ahead of me. Then I found the journal, hidden behind a loose panel, a journal I'd never seen before. The handwriting wasn't mine, but the routine inside it was identical to mine. Same wake time, same coffee, same place for the keys. The last entry, which was 14 years ago. The person who wrote it had lived here alone. Just like me. I looked them up. They'd disappeared. Never found. The coffee cup is still on my desk. I haven't touched it. But this morning, it was in the kitchen. Rinsed, dried, put away. Like it was never there. Like whoever's doing this doesn't want me asking questions. I still live here. I've thought about leaving. But every time I start to pack, something gets unpacked. This happened in late 2022. I had traveled to Tehran for work. It was a short-term consulting project, just under a month. The company arranged an apartment for me. It was in a relatively quiet part of the city. Older building, nothing fancy. The first few days were completely normal. Work during the day, come back, eat, sleep. But around the 4th night, something started to feel off. It began with small things. I'd leave the kitchen light off and come back to see it on. At first I thought maybe I forgot. Jet lag, long days, it happens. But then it kept happening, not just lights. One night I left a cup on the counter, exactly near the sink. When I came back later, it was on the dining table. That's when I stopped brushing it off. I checked the apartment thoroughly. Closets, bathroom, balcony, nothing. The doors were always locked, windows shut. I even asked the building manager if anyone else had access. He just laughed and said no. After that, I started being more careful. I took pictures of things before leaving, just to make sure I wasn't imagining it. And that's when it got worse. One evening, I took a photo of my living room before stepping out. Just a habit at that point. When I got back, everything looked normal until I checked the photo, because in the photo, the chair near the window was pushed in. But when I looked up, it wasn't anymore, like someone had been sitting there. That night I didn't sleep. I kept replaying everything in my head, trying to find a logical explanation. The next morning, I decided to set up my laptop to record. Just the living room, nothing fancy. I left for work, and honestly, I wasn't expecting anything. But when I came back, the apartment felt different. I can't explain how, but it felt like someone had been there. I opened my laptop, scrolled through the recording. For the first few hours, nothing. Empty room. Still. And then, around 2:13 p.m., the chair moved. Slowly, like someone was pulling it back. But there was no one there, no shadow, no reflection, nothing. Just the chair. And then it stopped. That was it, no other movement. I packed my things that same night, checked out of the apartment the next morning. The company asked me why I was leaving early. I just said the place wasn't comfortable. A few days later, back in Austin, I walked into my kitchen and froze. The dining chair was pulled out in the exact same position.